My friends, welcome to Talk Casual. I'm broadcasting live here in the Outer Rim at the Fly Casual headquarters. Tonight, it's just me, the Salt Master himself, Ariel, and welcome tonight to this post-AdeptiCon wrap-up or warp-up to some people, you never know. We're going to talk about what happened at AdeptiCon, what happened for day one and day two, and give my final thoughts on the event itself. Basically, what the show's going to be about tonight is basically my run of what happened that weekend. If you are looking for a kind of a list review on the top players and all that. A lot of people are going to do that anyway, so I thought I'd give out my take of the event and also talk about some of the other things that I did see there. So if you are interested in those kind of top fleets and the meta looking at, I highly suggest you look at the Armada podcast, guys. I presume Command Stack will do that shortly, but tonight will be just about my takes on the event itself. Right, let's go. I'm going to start off. Basically, this is for everyone to understand how I go into a competitive event. A lot of people know that how I play my competitive fleet, and everyone knows, the local meta knows my competitive fleet. But I'm going to go through the gist of it so that for newer players or people who want to get into tournament kind of play or competitive kind of play, I can go through what I think what my feelings, my thoughts are through the thing and how to play. Basically, I play a lot of things. People might think otherwise, but I play all the 4 factions now. I do have the Rebel faction now. I've actually bought into Rebels. But I have one main competitive fleet, and the people who know me, it will be my Onager Interdictor. That fleet has always been started off as a AEST victory fleet with a demo on it, and it's evolved since then. So I've always had this one competitive fleet, and I've always used it as a almost a sports team kind of mentality. Something comes in, you sub it in, you get something out. And I've been modifying this fleet since I've started playing Armada, and this has been my main competitive build. So I'm going to go through what I took to New Zealand Open World Qualifiers, which I won, and I got the ticket to go to Worlds. So let's bring that up, and welcome all to tonight. Let's bring that up. So this is what I took to New Zealand qualifiers. So this is my main fleet with Onager Interdictor with Piet on it. So I had Onager Testbed, Governor Price, Veteran Gunners, Governor Chief Vermilion, Audible Bombardment Particle Cannons, then Interdictor Suppression Refit, Admiral Piet, Captain Brunson, Auxiliary Shield Teams, Grav Shift Rewrote, Targeting Scramblers, and Interdictor Title. Then I had a Gazanti Comset, and oops, that's not right. Get rid of that. I was playing around there for a sec. So what I did have here, sorry, I was playing around with this. I had a Gazanti Cruiser Comset and then a Gazanti Cruiser Naked. I have been playing around with moving some stuff around with this, and what I was finding out with Piet, I wasn't getting the mileage that I really wanted. So I did put, I was working with parts resupply to get those tokens moving. I think I got rid of Vermilion at that time. I can't remember what I did, and then I did iron cannon batteries. I think that's what I did the first time round. Then I realized I wasn't getting a lot out of Piet. Piet was a lot of hard work to get working well, and a lot of token manipulation, and it was just I wasn't getting the right usage out of him. I wasn't getting him using with the Interdictor title and getting like double commands onto the Interdictor or the Onager. And if I only was doing it once or twice. Then the Gazantis weren't really kind of gaining from that. So I felt even though Piet was cheap and as I said, it's 22 points, it just wasn't working out for me. So a couple of weeks before actually Adepticon, I actually switched it up and I went to Modi. I had to think about a different commander because, as I said, Piet wasn't working for me. I was looking at Ozzel. Ozzel's pretty good for the Onager and for the Gazantes, but the Interdictor being a speed 2 ship doesn't really focus well. Ozzel, you can use him. There's nothing wrong with it. I just felt Ozzel wasn't what I wanted. And then Jerry again, Interdictor probably wants Jerry, but I just felt that I didn't feel the right thing. So I decided to go with Modi, especially what was happening last year. That a lot of things last year was, a lot of big ships were bumping me. A lot of cogs were there bumping their Kuwaits right in front of me and were basically killing them with bumps. And so I learned a lesson of that, ships just come in and actually get in your grill and try to kill you, murder you out straight away. So I decided to go with Modi a couple of weeks beforehand and give it a go. And to put the Onager at 13 hull, and then the Interdictor at an AEST 11 hull. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So it also, especially seeing an Interdictor with Brunson and targeting scramblers and an 11 hull Interdictor, it deflates a lot of players, which I found out does a fair amount, as I'll speak about the games that I played. So I decided that this was going to be my list. The name of it is my sad devotion to this game. So as I said, I dropped Gun Retrieve Vermilion, and I dropped the parts resupply to gain Admiral Modi, and then I gained Iron Cannon batteries. Now that's I was thinking I wanted HIEs. HIEs is probably the best one to go on there, but because of the points, especially with the Onager nerf that did come through, I had to basically get rid of decaps and HIEs and just to fit the Onager in there. So I when I was basically running without an Iron Cannon slot, I found that the Interdictor was kind of a bit lackluster. People didn't fear the Interdictor as much as they used to, Terry said to me. So I needed something in there that would actually cause a little bit of damage and also a little bit of, just a little bit of jank, I think. I think Iron Cannon batteries, it did open some eyes to some players, especially for James. He was really surprised of what Iron Cannon batteries does. For me, it was really pretty cool because you can double arc an Interdictor and hit iron batteries twice because it doesn't exhaust. If you get the blue crit, and of course the Interdictor having 3 blues and 1 red, you're bound to get one there, here or there. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you don't. But sometimes if you get that double arc and you got that double blue, you can get 2 shields off. Or if they don't even have shields, you can strip tokens off it, which becomes really good. Especially when HIEs, once the Interdictor's kind of the Onager's hit his beam and stripped off the shields, the Interdictor comes in and then HIEs is null and void, really. So at least with Iron Cannon batteries, especially if they have like ECMs on there and they have that repair token just to save up to recharge ECMs, they can Iron Cannon batteries can take that away and say, nope, see you later. So especially like for spats as well, anything that requires a token to refresh. And I know that the token meta, especially with Armada these days, there's a lot of things that require tokens to refresh stuff at the end phase. So I thought Iron Cannon batteries could be a bit of a little sleeper kind of card there. And I really enjoyed it using that actually. So I did use Iron Cannon batteries because the aunties was Comsnet and the Naked One. My usual complement of squadrons as well. Again, I was playing around what squadrons I wanted to do. I feel that this is a very strong squadron for me. Vader does what Vader does. He goes around screaming around rogue, bombing things if he needs to. Goes and doesn't need to be activated by squadrons. Valen Rudor and Tel Tavura are basically there to stop the squadrons. And then, of course, Colonel Jendon can be used for either Vader or Valen Rudor, as James found out against Sienna Ray. Sienna Ray. Not Sienna Ray. Shara, that's what I'm thinking. Shara. So Valen Rudor, and you put Tal and you put Colonel Jendon next to not Sienna Ray, I guess that again. So yeah, you know what I'm talking. Shara. I can't even say Shara. Yeah, evil. So Shara and Valen and Colonel Jendon double tapping Valen, so Shara can't do her double counter and get those crits on there, which I find really cool with Valen. That's why I have Valen there. Valen is probably one of the best, cheapest aces you can get. Having free blacks to roll those free black dice against generics, it just murders generics quite well and gets those constant free hits on there. Vader's there, of course, if he needs to get those the specific unique aces, but I like to keep him back and go and bombing stuff. And of course, Tal just lock things up and gets that escort and stops anyone from moving around and just comes back to life if it works. And it did work a fair amount of times, which I was glad it happened. So my objectives were Rift Assault, Abandoned Mining Facility, and Doom Station. Basically, farming. For me, it's farming with the interdictor. That's the best thing you can do. Rift and Doom Station have the actual Rift, using the Rift as a grav, not the grav shift, but using the Rift as grav shift, and also using as a slowdown mechanism to move it towards a opponent's feet is really good as well. And of course, Abandoned Mining Facility. No one chooses Abandoned Mining Facility. Every time I pulled out my objectives, they just threw that one straight away. So the only two objectives that I did play were Rift Assault and Doom Station. And 9 times out of 10, it was Rift Assault. I played Doom Station once, I believe. Maybe twice. I can't remember. No, I think it was Doom Station once. No, twice. No, twice. I played Doom Station twice. And then the rest is Rift Assault. So let's go into the games themselves. Let's see. So first things first, I want to talk about LCQ because I did arrive a couple of days early. Big thanks to Atomic Mass Games for letting me for the trip there. It was really nice accommodation, really stellar trip. And to honour the tickets, I need to thank them for that. But they got me a bit early there, and I decided to just walk around and watch LCQ. Really fun, interesting event to see. It was really good to see this SSD painted up with LEDs and fighters on it. If you saw the Iron Radio stream, you'll see the actual SSD we're talking about. But it was really good to see there, and big thanks to Ken for let me helping him out for a little bit on the side there. I know how hard it is to stream, especially live and getting things right. So I always try to help out my fellow content creators, and a big thanks to him for letting me be on the sideline as much as I could. Granted, I couldn't be on camera, but that's another story, and I'll keep that quiet to myself. But he did let me have a little play around and make sure that I helped out with him. So big thanks to him for letting me help him on there, and a big thanks for the coffee cup too. That was awesome. But it was a good day just to walk around, say hi to people, give away some cards. If you got my Shara Bay card, I hope you enjoy it. Have fun with her. If you didn't get the apologies. I tried to talk as much to people. I didn't want to interrupt into people's games. But it was a really nice day just to walk around, have a look, and just relax before we get into Day 1 Worlds. All right, let's get into Day 1 of Worlds. So, as you can see, my first round opponent was Reese. Reese had a Bale 130 Squadron Ball fleet. So it was basically a Venator 2 with Bale Organa, clone navigation officers, flight controllers, flag bridge, thermal shields, tranquility and mercy mission, Pelter medical frigate with fighter coordination team, bomber command center, boosted comms, and of course a concealed armed cruiser with clone navigation officer, Radiant 7, and parts resupply. Squadrons were Anakin, Ahsoka, Axe, Kickbacks, 2 Y-Wings, and 2 Arcs. Now this game it was really tough. Really tough to get straight off the bat. I believe he had the bid being 389 and decided to go second player. I chose his yellow fighter, whatever that is. You know what I want about. The fighter ambush. So at least I can control the rocks and move them away, or move them closer to me so they were away from that distance 5. So that's what I did, and I also had deployment advantage so I could see where things went. That's the only really good thing about fighter ambush that I really like. You can actually see where everything goes and not use that deployment advantage there. So that's why I chose it. So basically what happened in this game, his ball destroyed my ball. It's simple as that. Like, there's nothing stopping Anakin from doing what he does in Ahsoka, especially with fighter coordination team just bouncing around left, right, and center. I was quite lucky. He was scoring some points off me, and he got his mercy mission into the end zone. But lucky for me, I actually destroyed his Venator, and that was where I got some of the points back. I put my interdictor right in front of his Venator, and it could not go anywhere. And one way you can beat Tranquility is bumping into the Venator, because Tranquility doesn't stop bumping, and if you keep bumping into it, it's going to gain hull points. So as much as you can thermal shields and Tranquility, the Onager, the interdictor said, no, that's all right. I can be here all day, and basically that what happened. So I didn't lose any ships. He lost his Venator, and basically he got the mercy mission and scored some 4 or 5 points off the objective, but it was a 6-5 win to Race. Which I thought I walked away out of that. I think he was 1 point off from being a 7-4, one objective point, like 1 token away from it, so like 15 points away from being a 7-4. So to go away from that a 6-5 was a win kind of for me. I felt like I walked away pretty lucky to get away with that one. Sorry, I want to talk first off. I should have said I've got a list here what I wanted to discuss, and my goals for the day before starting the day. I was having a chat to downsize it, Ben. He was like, I want to make day 2. It's like, for me, I'm like, well, my objective for today is to do a little bit better than last year. Last year's, if you're aware that I came 70 something, and I was 1-4 for the day. So my objective for today was basically, I want to get better than that, get 2-2. If I get 2-2, that'll be fantastic. That was really it for me. Like, if I can square the ledger, come better than 70th, I can do better. Yeah, Ben's like, I want to make it day 2. I'm like, not. It all depends on certain things, and playing Worlds, sometimes you don't get the match-ups that you really want. So for me, I'm just like, I'm going to enjoy today, and I'm going to do what I can. Hopefully I can square the ledger and get myself higher than 70th. So that was my my goal for the day. So coming out of that, as I said before, I got a 6-5 loss. I was, as I said, quite happy with that. I felt like it is a draw, as everyone calls it. But I thought I walked away quite well away from that one. So my round 2 matchup was against Brian McAdams. He was one of the Florida guys who won a store championship. Really nice guy, really great game. He was flying an Onager Star Destroyer, Admiral Ozzel, Governor Price, Veteran Gunners, Gun Retriever Million, XI-7s, and Orbital Bombardment Particle Cannons. Were Glad 1, skilled First Officer, Ordnance Experts, Engine Techs, External Racks, and Demo Title. And then a Gazanti Cruiser with Honda Hanaka Comset, and Squadrons Tell, Vader, Colonel Jen, and Marek Steel, and 2 Fire Sprays. So a very similar kind of list with Squadrons. He had a bit more of Squadrons, had the Star Destroyer, which is really interesting. Of course, for being that extra 4 points, why not? And XI-7s really hurt hard. So what I can remember of this game, I believe I had the bid for it. I went second player, and he chose my Rift, my red one. So it was Rift Assault. Basically, as I said before, most of the games were Rift Assault. So I scored several points from the Rift Assault. And then we basically traded our Onagers, and I think we traded out our Darth Vaders as well, and a couple of squadrons there. So I was really lucky to walk away with a win there. As I said, most of my points came from the actual objective itself. So it was a really fun game. When I see Imperial, I kind of feel a bit easier. It feels a bit easy for me to play them. And as you can see, I know how to deal with Imperials. And it was a good game to play. So that was my second round matchup. So I walked over 7-4. Next game was almost a mirror match, basically. So I was against Paul. Paul was running almost like, it's not a cog list, but as he calls it. So it's basically, instead of a Kuat, he's got an Imperial too. So the Imperial, as I said, this is almost like a mirror match because he had Modi as well. So he had Imperial class Star Destroyer 2 with Admiral Modi, Relentless title, Director Krennic, Gunner teams, early warning systems, Spinal, Point Defense Iron Cannons, Honda Hanaka, Radar 1 with Honda Hanaka, Kazanti Cruiser with Darth Vader Comset, then an Onager with Sunder title, Governor Price, Ordnance Experts, and Orbital Bombardment Particle Cannons. He got Sunder off, which basically I think he got rid of my iron cannon batteries, because he's going to me, well, you don't have ACM on your ships, so that's really what the Sunder title's there for. So the only thing you can basically rip off with the Sunder title was my iron cannon batteries. Cool. So I basically, so again, another tough matchup. Lucky for me, my squadrons were able to run around and do what they needed to please. As I said, I went for his Interdictor, his Onager, and he went for my Onager. So again, we traded Onagers, and then we killed my Gazanti. I think he killed, because I'm looking at the points. And I think this was actually an actual Doom Station. This is where I got most of my points from, Doom Station, because especially with Cog, because I played another kind of Coggish kind of player in the second day. They choose Doom Station because they know where I'm going to be. And I think that's what Cog really wants to know. Like if I put the station down, he goes, right, I can focus my fleet on the station. So lucky for me, I was able to farm the station several times, and then when he got close with his AEST 2, I just got rid of it. I just sent it into the rift, so he couldn't farm any more points off it. So I think I got about 4 tokens off there. I can't remember off the top of my head, before his AEST 2 came too close and was basically on it. So I had to get rid of the station. But yeah, basically I was farming the station, and we traded Onagers for this game as well. one thing that really I blew me out of mind again, like with Armada, you always find new rules that kind of just come out of nowhere. You don't understand it. I realized that Krennic with a squadron, a dial and a token can be used twice. His ability twice. So his dial mechanic and his token mechanic. So he can roll all the dice, then roll 3 dice, whatever Krennic allows you. So he rolls and rolls again. And I'm like, wow, did not see that one coming. And relentless, just getting rid of tokens and just, he was throwing a bucket load of dice. And with Modi and that, it was hitting like really hard. So I think he killed my Onaga first. And then I killed his Onaga second with the Interdictor and Vader just coming along there. But the Interdictor was sitting on the station and I collected the points there. So this was a really, really close matchup. It could have gone either way. I think the Interdictor was hurting a bit, but not enough to scare it what it is. But it could have gone either way if he's... Because, as I said, his Imperial 2 did get close my Interdictor, but Targeting Scramblers did its job, and I was, Targeting Scramblers. But a really good matchup, really good game, and it was really, really intense. So lucky for that was a 6-5. So again, another close matchup there. My final game, I get to this game thinking, well, I'm 2-1. I've done what I wanted to do. I've ticked the ledger off. I'm fine. I'm fantastic. Let's get on with the game. And then I was against Robin. So the first player, Reese, was one of the Brits. He was another Brit. Robin is another Brit as well. So this is quite hilarious. Poor guy, he comes in and sees my list and he goes, "Oh no!" And you can tell because. Malador, the last winner, he's a Brit himself, so I presume he's seen Onaga Interdictus, just like Reese. Reese was just like rolling his eyes when he saw my list, saying, "Oh, another Onaga Interdictor." He's like, I play James most of the times, and I hate the Onaga Interdictor. So Robin here probably is seeing the Onaga Interdictor, has just rolled his eyes and gone, "What am I going to do against this?" So, it was a really interesting game again. He had the bid. So he had the bid. So he was umming and ahhing what he wanted to do. And he was really like, you could tell he was just like done and dusted over with the game. And he's just like, he said, "I have to go first. I can't see going second against your fleet." So again, I was second player, and he chose my Rift Assault, I believe. That's what I remember. As you can see by the results there. Good afternoon, Patrick. Well, it's evening here. It is 9 o'clock in the evening here. So welcome. So Robin, chose my Rift Assault. Basically, he basically did really well because what he did, he charged his 2 AESTs. Let's go through his list actually before we go there. So he's had the Simon 1 refit with Darth Vader, Commander Darth Vader, Governor Price, take evasive action, gunner team, reserve hangar decks, XI-7's turbo lasers, spinal armaments, and then the Kuat with Commander Valanto, boarding troopers, electronic countermeasures, PIDX, external racks, and Devastator title. Then he had a Gazanti cruiser with Honda Hanaka, comset, reserve hangar decks, and 2 interceptor squadrons. So basically my squadron, Valen and Tel locked up the interceptors and destroyed them up and got rid of the reserve hangar deck versions as quickly as possible. A lot of muck-ups there. Oh, welcome, Eldor. Welcome. We're just talking about your British friends here, just getting upset of an Onaga Interdictor being on the other side. So, basically he was. You could tell you can tell it was the last game of the day. He wasn't thinking well. He forgot a lot of PIDX. He forgot a lot of Vanto. So he was he was really all over the place. But what he did really well was he basically speed free towards me and get close to the rocks, so I couldn't hit him with my Rift Assault objective. So I didn't actually score any points from the Rift, from that actual my objective there. But what happened is basically I killed his Kuat, and we traded my Onika for my Kuat, and then my Interdictor decided to basically go in front of his Simoon and basically kept bumping into the Simoon. And then, of course, just hilarity ensued with the Interdictor being the Interdictor. The Simoon was just throwing all these buckets of dice into the front of the Interdictor, and then I just targeting Scrambled and Brunson, and it just basically what was like a 10 or 11 hit shot was almost like 3 down to 2 with Brunson. So it was just unbelievable what how this targeting Scrambled was coming. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Malor. I'm glad that Robin did say that. He's a great. It was a great game to play against. But it was the last day of the game, the last match of the day, and he was probably really tired. And he did make several mistakes, and he's like, cursing and swearing. Well, it wasn't swearing, but he was cursing, in jest, in fun. But it was a really fun game. But and basically an Interdictor took out a Simoon. That's basically what happened. It kept bumping into the Simoon. He was actually on a rock, and it kept bumping into the rock and into my Interdictor, and he kept getting face-ups. And that's how I killed a Simoon. And it was a 400 point win game for me. So it was a 9-2 for me. And I finished the day on 27 tournament points. I could not believe myself. I was, at the time when I finished the game, I'm like, 3-1, fantastic. I'm happy with that. If I don't make the top cut, I don't care. I basically made my objective for today. I've had a good lead. I got the good ledge. I got 3-1. And then Dan comes to me and goes, "You made the cut. You are aware." I'm like, "No, I wasn't. I didn't even look. I wasn't even looking. I wasn't like, who cares?" And then I realized I made the cut, and I was placed 22nd. So I was not expecting that. And I was really lucky to get, basically, I was really lucky to get the draw that I had. There was a lot of other good players that did miss the cut, and they had, really bad draws. And that's what happens with these big events. If you don't have a really good draw, you can either do really badly or you can really tough it out. But like, say, last year my Worlds wasn't the greatest, and I had really bad matchups all day. I had a lot of CIS, and for this year, I had, as I said, I had Imperials all day, except for race at the start. And as I said, for coming out with that loss, with a 6-5, with that Anakin ball, it was I was really pleased with that loss. As I said, if you can walk away with a loss with that kind of small of a loss, you're doing yourself well. So I was really pleased. And as I said, mostly, it was just really good I had a really good set of matches that came along, and I was able to leverage those matches there. So to come away with a 9-2 in the last round, it was amazing. As I said, like a lot of other people around me, like Toka was just behind me on 23 points. He was 4-0 and same tournament points. So James, the other Australian, came 3-1 as well, and the same tournament points, but had a lower MOV. Now he made the cut, so we're the only 2 Australians there in the cut. Sadly, for Dan and for Relent Lachlan, they didn't make the cut. I can't remember where they made it. Let's just have a look. I know that Relent didn't do quite well as he wanted. He didn't have a good day of it. So Lachlan came 96, and Dan was 105th. So it wasn't their days, and I can understand it all depends on the matchups, and also Dan Kim did come the day before or for Worlds, so what I recommend is getting there a couple of days and actually acclimatise to the location. I know Lachlan was really tired and really sick, so again, yeah, it was good for them to show up. As I said, we had 5 Aussies in at Worlds, 1 in LCQ, so we had Will at LCQ, and then we had 4 of us playing at Worlds. So that was probably the biggest contingent of Australian players at Worlds this year. So I hope to see more of our brethren coming over across the seas. But, tough luck for them, got those guys. But they, is their first Worlds to make it this far and to actually play 4 games of Armada. I give them, job well done. As I said, it's not for us Australians to get over there, different time, different hemisphere, different weather, different times. It took me about 4 days to get used to getting away from the jet lag. And I'm also, when I came back, I was just I came back on Easter and I was just sleeping most of the day. I could not shake jet lag for about until the next week. So it was really hard. It's really hard. I don't know what it is. It must be the getting older or something like that. I don't want to talk about that, but but yeah. But again, top marks for the guys. Their first Worlds coming over. Yeah, I know. Next year I've got to be 4-0. That I understand. They're Clint, but I was happy. So I made it to day 2. Let's talk about day 2. For me, day 2 was more about I've made it. I don't care what's going to happen this day, and I've already played 4 rounds of Armada. So let's go into day 2. And day 2, round 1, it had to be against James. I had James Steed, of course. My other Aussie. So he's flying a Kraken Corvette list. And look, in the end, he had the bid. He chose to be first player and chose my Rift ambush again. And basically just ran around with the Corvettes. That's all I can say about it. He's, James is on another level when it comes to Armada. And for me, it was really good to play against him. Excuse me. But it was, for me, when you get to a game, you're always worried about the player next to you, how he's going to, how is he going to be a good player? 9 times out of 10, most Armada players are really good people to work with. They want to have fun. They want to, make sure they play the best you. Sometimes they say, no, do that. That's all right. Take that token, or that's all right. You can re-roll that, or you can do that. 9 times out of 10, that Armada player will let you do that. But at Worlds, there's no guarantees. To get James on the second day, first game, it is a bit of damn, what all this way to fly another Aussie. But I knew what I was getting a game with, and to play James was really good. Was really as I told James, it's like getting to that nice comfy chair that you know and feel that you can know you're going to get a good game. You're going to get a quality game. And you're going to get a decent opponent that you know well, and I know well, and I have, is, as I said, he's next level when it comes to Armada, and it was a really good game actually. I really enjoyed it because, it was just one of those funny little games where everything happened against me, and basically he Ezra Bridged my Rift Assault into me. After I moved it away from him, he moved it back to me. So he screwed my Onega and my Gazanti by getting face down damage cards because I was going to speed 1. But lucky for me, I got several points off him by almost killing his squadron. So I killed his Lando, which is really good. I feel like that if you the only way to beat James's list is to go after the squadrons and beat the squadrons. Forget about the corvettes and try to destroy the squadrons. So lucky for me, I was able to kill a fair amount of squadrons. As I said, I've got 144 points. I killed, I think I killed one of the transports and several squadrons, and I think I got some points out of the objective as well. Of course, what happened was my Onager got a crit, and then of course I couldn't shoot into obstructed ships. And of course, Kraken is, they're all obstructed, so so my Onager became a flak boat, basically. It was, I was after the Corvette B and trying to get some points off that, because I had a nice, perfect side shot onto it, and I was going to get some tokens off it, but I got that crit, and I could not shoot into any of the ships. So in the end, the Onager became a flak boat. Just double flak boat. Lucky I had some confires in there, so I had double blacks just flying out the front. So the most weirdest thing for an Onager to be is a flak boat. So, but again, as I said, a win to James there. It was a 7-4 for him there. So first game's out, done and dusted. I'm like, fantastic. That's that done. I can get into the day, get into what's happening this game. Let's go on, let's continue on. And I pick up Tok'ra. When you think your day's getting better, it just got worse. So you get the 2019 champion up next, and German Sloan. And let me just say, it was an absolute masterclass by Tok'ra here. Basically, killed my squadrons. Colonel Jenin ran away because he couldn't do anything else. I tried to kill his Architans, but it engine teched out of there. This is where I kind of mucked up, and I realized what I've done wrong. I should have done more nabs with the Onager, and he just ran away. And it was almost going to be a 6-5 for him, which I would have taken as an awesome draw. But my interdictor was on one hull left, and Vader came in for the last roll. All I needed for him was to do 1 dice damage, not 2, 1, so I could Brunson even if it did a double on the 1 dice, I could have Brunsoned that out. And sadly for me, he rolled a hit and a blank. He rolled that blank again, and he got that hit. And that was game over. I already used targeting scramblers for another. I think it was basically it was the Marek roll. But again, he killed the interdictor on that last turn, because he was the first activation in the last round. All I needed was to survive that initial frontal attack from the squadrons, and it was left to Vader on the last dice roll to kill my interdictor. If he didn't do that, I would have activated, repaired, and got it out of dodge, and the interdictor would have survived, and I would have lost. It would have been a lost 6-5, but I would have taken that again. If you can take a 6-5 loss out of the World 2019 champion, again, a win for me, but wasn't meant to be. As I said, a good win for Dennis there. All I did was kill I killed his Gazanti, one of his Gazantis, and I think I killed one of the defenders by the looks of it. No, I killed he killed his Gazanti, and then I got a token off the Rift Assault, because that's what we're playing. We're playing Rift Assault, because he had the bid, of course. He wanted to go first and chose my Rift Assault. So he had the bid by 1 point. So, that was my round 2. Now we get to the last 2 games of the tournament, and this is where I kind of lost it. I think something that I really want to talk about afterwards, after I've talked about the last 2 games, is basically the psychology of playing games. let's just go through the games here. So again, this is again a cog list that basically again I'm like, well, I played cog lists, I can beat this. I thought I really had a good chance to beat it, but I mucked up on my targets. I should have gone for the Onaga straight off the bat. For some reason, I decided to go against the Kuat. That was the first mistake. Second mistake was just the Kuat came in front of my Onaga, blasted everything. Targeting scramblers did not work. That was the first and only time that targeting, well, not the only time, but it was one of the times that just targeting scramblers just did not work. And, 9 times out of 10, it does work. And that one time, you're just like, well, bugger it. Then I forgot I had a redirect and a salvo. So he stopped my brace, and I totally forgot about my redirect and salvo. And then my Onaga just died a sad, sad death. It's one of those games you just go, brains just left and gone. It was just mush. And, as I said, this game, again, no offense to Jean, because he did really well. He was a really good player, really fun player to play with. As I said, all the players I played against Worlds, it was a really fun game. It was never like negative type kind of play, which you really enjoy. But really fun guy, really had really great fun. And so I should go through his list as well. So he had a Kuat, Emperor Palpatine, Ordnance Experts, Electronic Countermeasures, Point Defense, Iron Cannons, External Racks, on a test bed with Moff Jerry, Governor Price, Sensor Team, Veteran Gunners, and Orbital Bombardment Cannon. Then Glad 1, Skilled First Officer, Ordnance Experts, External Racks, and Demo Title. Then Gazanti with Darth Vader and Comsnet. So I got to kill his... so this again... He chose. He got to choose. He got to choose as first player, and he basically wanted. Chose my Doom Station. So Doom Station was again the choice for the cog. Again, that's where I got most of my points. But again, I should have gone for the test bed instead of the Kuat, and I paid the price for it. Because the scary thing was with his Onaga testbed was he had Governor Price and sensor teams, so he was getting the accuracies and the hits at the same time, and it was just hurting so hard. And as I said, my Onaga just went down really easy, and then my interdictor just could not take the damage that was coming from all 3 ships. I was lucky for me that I got most of the Doom Station tokens, and then I killed his demo just for the points. That's the only points I could get away with this game. Hindsight's 2020, as I said. I should have gone for his testbed. We should have traded testbed for testbed. At least when it came to my interdictor, I could have just focused on killing his demo, because his Kuat just was on the other side and wasn't doing a lot of damage after that. So, a game lost. And again, this game was a 9-2. So, and then it just went bad from worse there. As I said, last round, yeah, it was just an absolute whitewash. He got, again, I had the bid this time around. I chose second player, and Rift to Ambush it was. So basically, again, I should have killed his Acclimator 1. I went for his Venator 2, because basically I stripped his thermal shields. His brace was gone, so I went after it. And then, of course, my interdictor was way too far away from Brunson, the rocks. I said, again, nothing against Victor. Really good game, but my brain was gonski. So, yeah. And that was the end of Worlds for me. So that day I came last. But for me, to come second day and come 36 out of in the world, I'll take it as a win. As I said, I was really disappointed on the day, but I was quite happy of my tournament. So I'm taking a lot out of it. Would I change my list? couple of things I'll change here and there. I'll change probably a couple of things that I'll have a look later, but excuse me, sorry. But again, it all depends on the matchups, and the matchups didn't go my way. As I said, the last 2 rounds could have been totally different if my head was on there. So, I was talking about psychology and how things can and can't go these days. So, for me, playing 8 games of Armada in 2 days is a lot. And that's what probably did it for me, that I wasn't game ready for this tournament. Maybe for the four rounds at the start, the first day, I was fine. It was the second day that got me. And as I said, the last 2 games got me real bad. I wasn't thinking straight, and I lost those games out of silly judgment calls. So for those players who are looking at tournament play, especially for these big tournaments, you really need to look at how you want to be, ready, battle ready, like game ready. Even just playing game after game after game after game with people. And that's probably where I kind of lost. I knew my list, as I said, my Modi list was really good. It was a no-brainer, especially with Modi compared to Piet. That's why I chose Modi, because, as I said, it was tanky. You didn't have to think about it too much. It basically did what it did. But to keep going and going and going, that's where you really need to think and actually keep playing these long games. And that's where I probably failed myself, because last tournament I did play was the major one was the New Zealand Open Worlds qualifier, and I only played 3 rounds. Doing 4 rounds, you've done them before, but it is tiring. Second day, after the second round, I could not think, and this is where I stumbled. And I need to probably look into kind of bettering myself for those games. Actually, find a way to recharge the batteries and try to think, how can I make myself better for those games? But as I said, I was pretty proud of what I did, coming, in the top 36, getting into day 2. Wasn't one of my achievements for the tournament, but I was quite proud of what I did. And yeah, so that was my world. So it was really a really good tournament. Now, I want to talk about the location as well, because this is I was going to talk about the side things and talk about things there. We were not at the main hall. We were actually in the at the Hyatt Schaumburg. So it was a weird feeling, because we weren't in the main area. We weren't at the Renaissance Schaumburg, because we didn't have space. They didn't have space for us, so AMG put us in a separate area. It was a good thing, because we had our own space. We weren't with the X Wing players or Legion players. It was much more. It wasn't echoey with all the hall noise. But on the other hand, we weren't on the main hall. We didn't have that presence from other people watching us. And I think that's where Armada really needs its support from, is just that presence from casual viewers who don't understand what's going on, but they see the models and they say, oh, look at the SSD, and go, wow, that looks nice. We didn't have that traffics as compared to the last couple of years. So I think that's where it is a negative for Armada. But the plus was we did have our own space. It was crowded, but and especially in the main room, it was very crowded when you are next to each other. But you're just used to playing like that as Armada players. You're just used to being with other people just right next to you. So There wasn't a lot of space in there, but it was nice to have, away from everything else, which, we have all just Armada players. So it's a two-edged sword, really. And you can really look at things and say, right, AMG could have done better and could have done this, could have done that. But also understand it was really nice to have our own space and to have our own dedicated space. But again, I'm both ways. I'm like, awesome, we've got our own space, we don't have to worry about other X Wing or Legion players or Shatterpoint. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, if I want to go to the main hall, I can't go to the main hall. I've got to take a bus and go. And lucky for me, I went to the main hall on LCQ days because I wasn't playing, so at least I got some time there. Pricing wise, again, this is a hit and miss from AMG. Basically, the dice they gave away were absolutely beautiful. It was some of the nicest looking dice that I've ever seen for Armada. So I've got some and they just look really nice and I'm really happy with them. The downside is it's just the cards that we're giving away and everything else were a bit lackluster. I got the Governor Price foil card and then I spent it all on dice. Everything else, the art and the mats. The art was nice, but again, and the mats looks nice. It's fantastic, but it was just way too much points to spend on it. 150. It was 100 points for the mats and 70 points for the art, and that was basically a day's play. Whole weekend's play was 100 points really. I think I got 80 or something like that. I got 70 tickets. Because I spent 20 on the price card and then the 50 on the other there. So it was a bit hit and miss there. But the dice, the dice were probably the major focal point that everyone just went, right, I want dice. But they did give the Worlds players Anakin and Asajj Ventress cards with a kind of seal of Worlds on there, which was alright, but it's your standard cards. So again, hit and miss with the prizes there. So next, I want to talk about the interview with Will Shick that Iron Radio did. So top marks again. First off, top marks for Iron Radio for their coverage of Worlds. I was lucky for myself to see what they did, and I was able to help them set up for the second day after they had to move from. And poor Ken, I could see the work that it had to go behind there and just go through the whole thing. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I got to help set up there, which is, I'm more than happy to set up and happy to help. As I said, I've done this before. We've done the Australian World Qualifiers and I've done streaming. I know how hard streaming is, and streaming is a very harsh mistress, and she needs constant attention. So, top marks Ken and John and the rest of the Iron Radio team. So Adrian, I've lost names now, and I'm gonna get slaughtered because Garrett and Ryan as well. There you go. I remembered. For the work they did there. To get Will Shick on there, if you did see the interview, make sure you watch the interview. I'll put a link in the descriptions below. If they allow me to, make sure to check with Ken and make sure I can put a link on there. But make sure you do watch it. Nothing was said about the future of Armada, but the way Will, the thing that got me, Will is a real great salesperson. He sold that candy about the game, and the way he said about what's the best part of the game, or what's good to see about the game, seeing other people from other world and other parts of the world, and might not speak the same language, but they know what's going on by the faces and that. I thought it was really fantastic what he said about that, and he can sell. He can sell. Granted, he didn't say anything about the future of Armada, but the way he said it was very positive. I felt was very positive. I felt that if you are looking at playing Armada, if you're in doubt of playing, of continuing playing Armada, don't doubt. I think things will happen. Will things happen now? No. Will things happen in a couple of years? Maybe. But I think things will happen. You just have to have faith, and you just got to give it time. It's hard to say because, it's when was that announcement? Like it was 3 years ago. That was no products, and I've talked extensively of what AMG can do for Armada, and it's kind of been a hit and miss, especially what I'm going to talk about afterwards, the studio update. But coming out of what Will Shick said, felt very positive and very stay tuned. And I just hope that my feelings are correct. What I do know is that there is going to be a next round of OP, don't know about Worlds in particular, but there are the next 2024, 2025 competitions are happening because UK has announced there are going to be some competitions. So as Nova Open has advised they're going to be doing something as well. So, and this is all AMG supported too. So there is something coming. It's just nothing has been announced yet. But we can be positive and continue on doing. So I look forward for AMG to announce the next season of OP kits and store champs. I just hope they bring OP kits. That's all I ask, really. The next step needs to be OP kits. Without the OP kits, people don't come to stores. People don't come to stores, then they kind of drop off. So even if it's just, as I said, it doesn't have to be quarterly kits. It could be yearly, not half year kits. Every 6 months have new kits. That's all they need to do. Like, just little, even thirdly kits, really. If you want to get really simple, but even like 6 month kits, they have to look at something like that. They have to. Store champ kits were really good, and the open world qualifiers were really great, but again, they need to look at the local scene, the local meta. Just having one store champs kit for the year is just not going to cut it for a lot of players, and especially if that player can't get to that store champs. Especially like in Australia here, we only had one store champs in Melbourne because there's not much Armada players. So if that player misses out, then they miss out on that. So again, just things that you need to look out for. So my final thing I want to talk about is the studio update. I had a hunch that, yes, they weren't going to say anything about Armada or X Wing or anything like that. They were specifically clear that they weren't going to give you any updates on those games. But I had a hunch that someone would speak out, someone would object, someone would say something, and get up and complain. So I actually watched it live on the stream. I'm not going to name the streamer because I'm going to say why. So it came to the end of the Star Wars bit, and they started to move on to Marvel Prices Protocol. Then someone got up and actually started asking questions, and as far as I'm aware, AMG do not do question time. Last year they didn't do a question time. Anything I've seen, they don't do question time. But someone asked the question. Someone got up and said, I need to ask a question. And there was hesitation from AMG, and you could tell they weren't ready for it. We'll ask the head, Simone, just like, well, what do we do here? And she's like, yeah, all right, we'll take the question. Then was probably probably like the worst thing you could do. They muted the stream. Like, I don't know who gave the order to mute the stream, but again, I'm not going to name anyone. I'm not going to point fingers at anyone. Again, it could be someone telling someone else. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to criticize it, but I'm going to say it wasn't the right thing to do. You've made things worse for doing that. And to, blanket out that person from asking a question, that was, you made things worse, I'd say. I understand that things are very heated, especially when it comes to your game system, and I understand. I'm here spruiking my game for Armada, and to be non-showing at the end of a studio update is hurtful. But we're used to it. We're Armada players, so as far as I'm aware, what was said was, the gentleman asked about X Wing. What do you have to say about the 400 players downstairs? Is that it? Are we done? And of course, AMG stayed on its true course and said we don't have any announcements as of this date, and they kept to that. So I understand AMG. That's fine. Quite frankly, I feel like if they were going to announce the OP kits for next season, they might do it at a later date, because they did it last year and they said, oh, yep, they're going to be available May 4th. We didn't get ours until October that year. And I think a lot of them didn't come later in the year. So if you're going to hold back and announce them for later in the year, that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. That's cool. I understand. Maybe they're still working on them. Maybe they're still they want to get that production right before they come out. I feel like is probably my best assumption of why they didn't come out with that information at AdeptiCon. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. Again, that's totally fine. I know there's no Armada products coming out this year and next. That's fine. Again, I'm totally fine with that. But to say, yep, we got nothing for you today, please stay tuned, that's fine. Again, you've told us this. But to mute the person and to deny the people on the stream to listen what happened there, it just felt like a very low blow to the community. So that's my personal views on it. As I said, I'm not blaming the streamer. I'm not blaming AMG. I'm just whoever's decided needed to cut it was not the right move. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. And I understand if you want to stop people from swearing, I get that, but it wasn't the right move. That's my view. So that's the end of Worlds. That's the end of AdeptiCon. That's my view on there. I want to say congratulations to Peter Saber first off. Congratulations for winning, and winning with a farm hawk, a fox hawk. So congratulations to Peter Saber and the Polish community. I know it's awesome to see the rest of the world come together and play some Armada, and it was always good to see everyone from the Armada community. It was really fun to meet up with everyone, just to see the smiles on people's faces when I gave them the Shazza Bay cards. So hope you enjoy your Shazza Bay cards. Hope you go back to your communities and have some fun, show them off. And if there is a world next year, I will bring I feel like I should bring another Australian themed card of some sort. So I am going to work on that. So I've got some ideas, and I've been working with my other fellow Aussie compadres, and they've come up with some really good ideas, especially when you're having a couple of drinks of beers. After the second day, we went to a steakhouse and had a couple of beers and had some margaritas, and that was probably the best part of the week. Just having a couple of beers with your mates, a couple of other drinks, having a steak. It was a really good weekend, and I really enjoy it. And for those people who question if you want to go or not, I highly recommend you go. Even if you are from overseas, you should make a once in a lifetime pilgrimage to AdeptiCon. So for those people who can't make it or aren't able to make it, even to make it to the last chance qualifier, like even if you did the last chance qualifier, you still had a chance to get some tickets, to get some prizes, and then you could have played the first, second day side events to get some prizes. So, but if you do get a ticket to Worlds, even just like an invite to Worlds, I highly recommend that you take it and have some fun. And as I said, it was really good to catch up with the rest of the Aussie guys. As I said, the Canberra guys. It was good to catch up with Ken. Great guy. Just, big shout out to him and all the rest of the Iron Radio crew. Just the amazing work that they do. As I said, I'm very supportive of anyone who does content for Armada. And they do really well content. As I said, for the Ben, Downsize It, the Armada podcast guys, the 13th Fleet, make sure you check them out too. They're, they're doing a great job as well too. So make sure you support your Armada content creators. So if you are in the vicinity, if you have a chance to go to Worlds, take the chance, go to Worlds, have fun. Because it's probably some of the best weekend of gaming that you'll play. And I walked away with some really good times, had some great dinners, great mates, and it was always good to catch up with everyone. All right, that's it for tonight. I think I've waffled on a fair amount for an hour and 14 minutes. If you have any questions, guys, make sure you leave them in the comments there. Also, just what's coming up in the rest of the year. Now we're at the off season. We're just going to have a bit of fun. Hopefully, I can make some more videos. Apologies, I wanted to take the Easter break after coming back from Worlds and relax. As I said before, I was not in the right headspace to make videos. But hopefully now we'll get back into it. What's coming up? Well, hopefully we'll get some tournaments out. We'll get some tournaments at Tezza's Games. Trans-Tasman's coming up. So for those people who play Trans-Tasman on TTS, that's coming up. That'll be in July. So I've started doing the base work on that and I'm going to start thinking about alt cards there. So make sure to watch out for that one. So as I said, in 3 months' time, we'll be playing Trans-Tasman. So in 2 months' time, I'll presume have more info on that. So that is it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed the program tonight. As I said, it was my take on AdeptiCon, what happened. If you have further questions or comments, make sure you leave them below, and I'm more than happy to answer for you guys. As I said, we'll be back later on in the hopefully I'll have some more further content, hopefully doing some unboxings of other products that I'm currently working on. So stay tuned for that. And that's it for tonight. And remember, like, subscribe, follow us on the socials, and fly casuals. See you later.